When Tennessee Williams' searing drama hit the screen in 1951, the Hays office wielded its authority with surgical precision. Elia Kazan's adaptation of A Streetcar Named Desire became a tug-of-war between creative expression and moral oversight, with key scenes diluted or rewritten. The most significant edits targeted the play's darkest moments. Blanche DuBois' husband's self-inflicted death, originally tied to his homosexuality, was reduced to vague allusions. The climactic assault scene was softened into implication. Kazan later admitted he had to suggest rather than show, fundamentally shifting the story's emotional core. Vivien Leigh's Oscar-winning portrayal of Blanche became a masterclass in conveying trauma through nuance. Every glance and tremble carried the weight of what the script could no longer say aloud. The ending was also altered. While Williams' original left Stanley unpunished, the film version forced a moral resolution. Stella leaves him, undermining the play's ambiguity. Critics argue this change diluted the story's complexity. Despite the sanitization, the film still shocked audiences. Local censorship boards banned or edited it further, and the National Legion of Decency condemned it. Even in its muted form, Streetcar proved too provocative for many in 1950s America. December 1956 saw the release of Baby Doll, a film that ignited a nationwide uproar and marked a pivotal turning point in the history of Hollywood censorship. Directed by Elia Kazan and adapted from a Tennessee Williams script, the film dared to explore the tangled web of sexuality, desire, and dysfunctional marriage in the sultry, decaying landscape of the American South. Its frankness was unprecedented for the era, and it didn't take long for the Catholic Legion of Decency to condemn the film outright, labeling it morally repellent for its suggestive themes and provocative imagery. The Hays office, already feeling the pressure of a changing cultural climate, demanded significant cuts to scenes that implied seduction and exploitation. Only after a series of edits did Baby Doll receive the coveted code approval, but the controversy was far from over. Across the country, city officials moved to ban the film, religious leaders denounced it from their pulpits, and outraged citizens picketed theaters. The uproar became a national spectacle, with headlines chronicling the battle between Hollywood's creative ambitions and the guardians of public morality. Some film historians believe that Kazan and Williams anticipated the backlash, deliberately pushing boundaries to challenge the Hays Code's stranglehold on artistic freedom. If so, their gamble paid off in unexpected ways. Ironically, the controversy only fueled public curiosity. Audiences flocked to theaters, eager to see what could possibly have provoked such scandal. Baby Doll's box office success signaled a profound shift in public attitudes, exposing the weakening influence of the Hays Code and paving the way for a new era of cinematic boldness. The film's legacy endures as a testament to the power of controversy to spark change and redefine the limits of American film. In 1953, Otto Preminger's romantic comedy The Moon is Blue sparked a national uproar over a few simple words. The film's use of terms like virgin and pregnant led the Motion Picture Association to deny it a seal of approval, citing violations of the Hays Code. Rather than back down, Preminger and United Artists released the film without the code's endorsement, a bold move that challenged decades of censorship precedent. While earlier films had tested boundaries, none had done so with such visibility. Conservative states like Kansas and Ohio banned the film, while others demanded edits. Yet the controversy only heightened public interest. Audiences turned out in droves, eager to see what had caused such a stir. The legal battles that followed proved even more impactful. In 1955, the Supreme Court overturned state bans, delivering a major blow to the code's authority. Though the code would linger until 1968, The Moon is Blue marked the beginning of its decline. This seemingly innocent comedy cracked the moral armor of Hollywood, paving the way for more open discussions of sexuality on screen. In 1959, Billy Wilder's Some Like It Hot delivered a comedic earthquake that rattled the very foundations of Hollywood's moral establishment. Starring Tony Curtis and Jack Lemmon in uproarious drag and Marilyn Monroe at her most provocative, the film gleefully upended conventions with its gender-bending humor and a steady stream of suggestive content. The result was a riotous farce that sent the Production Code Administration, the enforcers of the Hays Code, into a full-blown frenzy. The Hays office flatly refused to grant the film its coveted seal of approval. citing violations of nearly every moral guideline in the book. Cross-dressing, sexual innuendo, and not-so-subtle implications of homosexuality were all deemed unacceptable for mainstream audiences. Yet, rather than back down, United Artists took a bold gamble, choosing to release the film without code approval. It was a risk that could have spelled disaster, but instead it paid off spectacularly. Some Like It Hot became a box office sensation and a critical darling, with audiences flocking to theaters to revel in its irreverence and wit. Wilder, always a master at challenging social norms, likely anticipated the backlash. Monroe's rebellious, magnetic persona only amplified the film's subversive charm, making it impossible to ignore. The film's runaway success, achieved without the blessing of Hollywood's moral gatekeepers, exposed the waning power of the production code and signaled a seismic shift in American cinema. Some Like It Hot marked a turning point, proving that bold, boundary-pushing storytelling could not only survive but thrive without official approval. Its legacy endures as a testament to the power of risk-taking and the changing tides of public taste, paving the way for a new era of creative freedom in Hollywood. In 1949, Elia Kazan's Pinky forced Hollywood to confront issues of race that the industry had long sidestepped. The film starred Jean Crane as a light-skinned black woman who passes for white, a premise that directly challenged the segregation-era taboos still deeply entrenched in American society. From the outset, Pinky was a lightning rod for controversy, and the Hays office scrambled to contain the fallout. Censors demanded significant cuts to scenes that even hinted at interracial romance, fearing a fierce backlash from Southern audiences and the potential for widespread boycotts. The controversy didn't end with the censors. Entire states moved to ban the film outright, and many theater owners, especially in the South, refused to screen it, wary of stoking local tensions. Despite these obstacles, Pinky managed to earn 3 Academy Award nominations, a testament to its impact and the performances of its cast. Yet critics and civil rights advocates were quick to note the film's central irony, a story about racial identity and the pain of passing starred a white actress in the lead role. This casting choice, many argued, was a calculated move to make the film's challenging subject matter more palatable to white audiences, softening the blow of its social critique. The censorship battle surrounding Pinky laid bare Hollywood's deep discomfort with race and its unwillingness to risk profits for the sake of progress. Studios, ever mindful of the bottom line, prioritized commercial viability over authentic representation, a pattern that would persist for decades. Pinky's legacy is thus twofold. It broke new ground in its willingness to address race, but it also exposed the limitations and contradictions of an industry still bound by the prejudice of its time. In 1956, Vincente Minnelli adapted Robert Anderson's play Tea and Sympathy, a story that dared to question rigid gender norms and societal expectations. From the start, the Hays office scrutinized the project, determined to erase any overt references to homosexuality. The result was a film steeped in subtext. Every line, glance, and pause had to carry the emotional weight of what couldn't be said aloud. Deborah Kerr's performance as Laura Reynolds became the emotional anchor, offering compassion within the confines of censorship. The film's ambiguous ending wasn't a creative flourish. It was a necessity, shaped by the code's restrictions. Conservative groups protested, and several countries banned the film entirely. Yet Tea and Sympathy endured. Its coded storytelling resonated with audiences who understood its deeper message. Today it stands as a quiet triumph of artistry over repression. When Alfred Hitchcock set out to adapt Daphne du Maurier's Rebecca in 1940, he faced a formidable opponent, the Hays Code. The novel's morally ambiguous plot, particularly Maxime de Winter's role in his wife's death, violated the code's ban on sympathetic portrayals of crime. Censors demanded that Maxime's actions be rewritten as accidental rather than intentional. This shift required major script changes, reshoots, and a softened portrayal of guilt and psychological torment. Scenes between Maxim and Mrs. Danvers were also carefully edited to avoid justifying violence. Some argue that Hitchcock's signature psychological tension was diluted by these constraints. Despite the compromises, Rebecca won the Academy Award for Best Picture. Daphne du Maurier reportedly expressed disappointment with the altered ending, feeling it stripped the story of its moral complexity. Rebecca's journey through censorship revealed that even thrillers weren't safe from the code's reach. It remains a haunting example of how creative vision was often reshaped to fit a rigid moral framework. Billy Wilder's 1945 masterpiece, The Lost Weekend, nearly became Hollywood's most diluted portrayal of addiction, thanks to the Hays office's relentless efforts to soften his brutal honesty. While the production code primarily targeted explicit content, it also stifled realistic depictions of social issues like alcoholism, making Wilder's unflinching character study a prime target. Censors recoiled at the film's depiction of drinking as a genuine illness, demanding the script avoid the protagonist's darkest moments. They pushed for a more hopeful ending, fearing audiences might leave theaters feeling defeated about addiction recovery. The original script showed Ray Milland's tormented writer descending into graphic withdrawal and despair, but the censors wanted a near miraculous turnaround. Wilder and Milland refused to cave entirely, fighting to preserve the story's psychological depth. The compromise became a masterclass in subtlety. Instead of showing the protagonist's lowest points outright, Wilder used shadows and suggestion. The delirium tremens sequence, though toned down, retained its chilling impact through inventive cinematography. Industry whispers suggest liquor executives pressured studios to bury the film, fearing reputational damage. But when The Lost Weekend finally premiered, audiences were captivated by its raw portrayal of addiction. It swept the Academy Awards, winning Best Picture, Director, Actor, and Screenplay. More importantly, it cracked open Hollywood's door to honest storytelling, proving that audiences crave truth over sugar-coated narratives. In 1953, waves crashed on Hawaiian shores as Burt Lancaster and Deborah Kerr filmed one of cinema's most iconic and controversial embraces. Their passionate beach scene in From Here to Eternity ignited a censorship firestorm, challenging how desire could be portrayed under the Hays Code's rigid standards. The code, in place since the early 1930s, flagged the central affair between Lancaster's Sergeant Warden and Kerr's Karen Holmes, a married woman neglected by her husband. Censors demanded rewrites, forcing screenwriter Daniel Taradash to tone down dialogue that originally conveyed their relationship more explicitly. Even the now famous beach kiss faced intense scrutiny, with censors arguing the imagery was too provocative. Ultimately, the scene survived, albeit carefully edited. Beyond romance, the film's depiction of military life also drew fire. Scenes showing brutality at Pearl Harbor's Schofield Barracks were softened or cut. References to Honolulu's red light district vanished. James Jones's novel had painted a grittier picture, but the film was reshaped to appease moral watchdogs. Studio heads feared condemnation from the Catholic Legion of Decency more than poor ticket sales. Yet despite receiving a condemned rating, audiences flocked to theaters. Released in August 1953, the film became the year's top earner and won 8 Academy Awards, including Best Picture. That beach scene, once nearly cut, became immortal, proof that controversy can cement cinematic legacy. In 1962, Stanley Kubrick faced a daunting challenge, adapting Vladimir Nabokov's controversial novel Lolita without triggering Hollywood's moral guardians. The Hays Code, still in effect, explicitly forbade depictions of inappropriate relationships involving minors, making the story nearly untouchable. Kubrick's workaround was cinematic sleight of hand. He cast 14-year-old Sue Lyon as a slightly older Lolita and emphasized her maturity through styling and performance. Symbolism replaced explicit content. Heart-shaped sunglasses and lingering camera shots hinted at what couldn't be shown. When Kubrick submitted the final cut, the Motion Picture Association demanded changes before granting approval. Though the film passed, several countries banned it outright, and American theaters faced protests. Kubrick reportedly regretted the compromises, later choosing to work in England for greater creative freedom. Rather than rehashing the code's restrictions, Lolita demonstrated how censorship could force filmmakers to rely on implication and subtext. The result was a film that challenged audiences to read between the lines, proving that suggestion can be more powerful than explicitness. In 1957, Island in the Sun dared to challenge one of Hollywood's most entrenched taboos, interracial romance. Starring Harry Belafonte and Joan Fontaine, the film faced immediate backlash for depicting attraction between a black man and a white woman. The Hays Code had long prohibited such portrayals, labeling them as promoting racial mixing. Censors demanded the romantic subplot be reduced to subtle glances and carefully worded dialogue. Physical contact was virtually eliminated, leaving audiences to infer the relationship. The response was swift. Southern theaters refused to screen the film, and several countries banned it. Belafonte and Fontaine received hate mail, and studio executives faced threats. Yet the controversy may have fueled interest. Progressive audiences turned out in droves. Despite the uproar, the film grossed over $5 million domestically. Its success proved that challenging racial boundaries could be both culturally and commercially significant, even if the door it opened remained only slightly ajar for years to come. When Otto Preminger brought Anatomy of a Murder to Columbia Pictures in the late 1950s, he reignited a war with the censors. The film's frank discussion of intimate violence and legal nuance shocked the Hays office. Unlike earlier cases, the issue here wasn't just content, it was language. Words like assault, sperm, and penetration had never been uttered in mainstream American cinema. The censors demanded Preminger tone it down. He refused. Preminger, no stranger to controversy, threatened to release the film without the production code seal. After tense negotiations, the film received approval, but many cities still banned or restricted it. Religious groups condemned it, and theater owners faced pressure to cancel screenings. Yet the backlash only amplified interest. Critics praised the film's mature tone, and audiences turned out in droves. It earned 7 Academy Award nominations and marked a turning point in Hollywood's moral landscape. Preminger's gamble paid off, proving that sometimes pushing boundaries is the only way to move them. If you've enjoyed this video, please leave a like and comment. Also consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell to get notified of our new videos each week. Thanks for watching.